This is the season's last Vikings Monthly Review. I'm your host, Alex Zappa. When we last saw each other, our team was not in a good place. 2 straight losses to divisional opponents in an up-and-coming matchup against a very frisky New Orleans Saints team that got the 3 seed in the NFC playoffs. I was feeling as nervous as a grandmother with no sugar to cook cookies. I was feeling about as nervous as a pack of cold ones at a frat house during alumni weekend. I was feeling as nervous as Aaron Rodgers at a family reunion. Then terror would strike in California, as Jimmy Chin and Kyle Shanahan would prove to be too tough to handle. The season comes to an end in San Francisco. Shortly thereafter, the OC, not one of the best teen dramas of all time, but the offensive coordinator position, Kevin Stefanski, he was ours, he since has left to go coach the Cleveland Browns, which has been the worst team in the NFL the last 20 years, maybe ever. But waiting on deck was Gary Kubiak, one of the best coaches in the NFL, former head coach of the Houston Texans and Denver Broncos. He will step in to lead the offense next year. All right. When it was all said and done, the Vikings would send 8 players to the Pro Bowl, which, fun fact, is 5 more than the Green Bay Packers. And lastly, on a serious note, thoughts and prayers to the Dolman family, as Chris Dolman, one of the best Vikings of all time, unfortunately passed away late last month. Wore number 56 on his jersey because he was initially drafted as a linebacker. Due to injuries in his second season, he slides into defensive end, and he would never look back. 150 career sacks, 21 in one of his seasons to lead the entire NFL. And in his second to last season, at age 37, he had 15, his second highest sack total of all time in his career. A Vikings Hall of Famer and an NFL Hall of Famer as well. Chris Dolman, you will be missed. Okay, with that said, time to wrap up the season with some awards and look to 2020-2021. See what the Vikings got to do this offseason. 5 awards on tap. The first, the Barry Sanders Award. Who was the guy you just couldn't wait to watch on Sunday? Had the best highlights. The player with the ball in his hand. That anything could become possible. The winner, Dalvin Cook. Over 1,000 rushing yards this season, over 500 receiving, and was top 5 in the NFL with 13 rushing touchdowns on a per-year basis. His salary at the position, 40th. Next, my personal favorite, the Maverick and Goose Award. Who was the best team? The guys that you put them together, an unstoppable force. Tough competition for this award this year. But you got to give it to the safeties with Hitman Harry, Harrison Smith, and Anthony Harris. Harrison Smith, the 4th best safety in football according to Pro Football Focus. Anthony Harris, number 1. He tied for the league lead with 6 interceptions this season. Harrison Smith would have 3 of his own, not to mention 85 tackles as well. And then we have the Bill Gates Award. Who did the numbers people just love? The Cybermetric All-Star. The winner, Eric Kendricks. Another player on the Vikings that would finish number 1 at their position according to Pro Football Focus. The best coverage linebacker in the NFL, not to mention his 4th straight season with over 100 tackles. Lastly, the Michael Myers Award. Who struck fear in the opponent's eyes? Who was the dude that was keeping the opposing team up come Saturday night? Danielle Hunter, the winner. 2nd straight season with 14.5 sacks. Top 5 in the NFL both of the last 2 seasons. Famously, maybe the best upper body set in the entire NFL. The guy's arms are a novelty to behold. I'm happy we got 99 on our team. A new year brings potentially a new team. Here's a list of the Vikings free agents going into the offseason. Biggest needs going into the draft and free agency. Offensive line. We've been screaming it for years. Unfortunately, it's still the case. 27th, according to Pro Football Focus, as far as pass protection this season. We got to protect Captain Kirk. The secondary. You look at that pending free agent graphic, almost everyone's on that list. Anthony Harris, Jerron Kearse, Andrew Sendejo, all safeties. As far as cornerbacks are concerned, you saw Trey Waynes, Mackenzie Alexander, 2 very high draft picks we've had the last couple of years. Now reaching the end of those rookie deals. How do we replace them? Is it through the draft? Is it through free agency? All questions Rick Spielman is going to have to answer at some point. Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2019-2020 season in the books. Thank you for tuning into Vikings Monthly every single month. We'll see you next year.